neighborhood of New York City and was fueled by what is now known as the Great Migration. During the Great Migration, African Americans moved from the rural South to northern cities for better opportunities and less social cruelty. The Harlem Renaissance was a cultural movement that encompassed literature, music, art, and intellectual thought. Poet Langston Hughes became a central figure, known for his works like his poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers and Harlem. Langston Hughes wrote his iconic poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers, at just 17 years old while he traveled by train to Mexico. The poem, inspired by the mighty Mississippi River and its connection to African American history, became one of his most famous works. Zora Neale Hurston, a novelist, wrote, Their eyes were watching God. Hurston was also an accomplished anthropologist who studied under renowned anthropologist Franz Boas. Her fieldwork included collecting African American folklore, which she compiled in books like Mules and Men. The American Experience and PBS produced a detailed documentary about Hurston. You can find the link in the description. Harlem became the hub of jazz music, with icons like Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong performing in clubs. The Cotton Club, a famous Harlem nightclub, showcased African American performers but catered to white audiences. The Apollo Theater opened in 1934 and became a launching pad for many African American artists. Claude McKay, the Jamaican-born poet and novelist, wrote If We Must Die. He advocated for racial pride and resistance. Jean Toomer's 1923 book, Cain, is considered a masterpiece of the Harlem Renaissance, and Aaron Douglas was a prolific painter and illustrator. Douglas created visual art that depicted African American life and heritage. W.E.B. Du Bois participated in the Harlem Renaissance as a key intellectual and civil rights leader who supported Harlem Renaissance artists and thinkers. The NAACP's magazine titled The Crisis was edited by W.E.B. Du Bois, published works from Harlem Renaissance writers. Publishing houses and magazines in Harlem provided platforms for black writers. Alain Locke, known as the father of the Harlem Renaissance, edited The New Negro, which is an anthology that defined the movement and can be accessed online. The New Negro movement signified a break from past stereotypes and promoted racial pride. Countee Cullen was a prominent poet whose works explored themes of race and spirituality. Bessie Smith is known as the Empress of the Blues. Smith's music brought African American struggles and triumphs to a wider audience, while Josephine Baker gained fame in Europe. Baker's performances reflected the energy and artistry of the Harlem Renaissance. James Weldon Johnson authored The Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man. Johnson was a poet, novelist, and a civil rights activist. Harlem rent parties were social gatherings that were held to help tenants pay rent. These parties were venues for jazz performances and community building. Nella Larson wrote Passing and Quicksand, which explored complex themes of race and identity, while Wallace Thurman's novel, The Blacker the Berry, dealt with issues of colorism within the African American community. The Harlem YMCA served as a significant meeting place for writers and intellectuals during the Harlem Renaissance. Carl Van Vechten was a white patron of the Harlem Renaissance who promoted African American artists through his photography and writings. The Harlem Renaissance fostered the growth of black theater, with performances highlighting African American experiences, and paved the way for future civil rights movements by promoting black cultural and intellectual pride. The Great Depression of the 1930s slowed the momentum of the Harlem Renaissance, but its impact endured. These facts highlight the extraordinary creativity and resilience that defined the Harlem Renaissance and its legacy in American history. We will not erase American history.